In the headlines, lawmaker says sacking underperforming security chiefs will help end insecurity. Zamfara airstrike victim dies, others responding to treatment. Ohinoi of Ibra land replies query for not welcoming President Buhari to his domain. Away from Nigeria, French, German foreign ministers arrive in Ethiopia to support Tigray peace agreement. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ida. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The member representing Taka Sumaila Federal Constituency of Kano State, Shamsuddin Bello Dambazo, has called for the sacking of heads of security agencies who fail to deal with the security challenges caused by criminal elements in the country. The federal lawmaker, who made the call while briefing members of the House of Representatives press corps on the numerous cases of attacks across the country, with the recent being the kidnap of 32 passengers waiting to board the Itape-Warri-bound train last week, Saturday. Dambazo suggests that heads of security agencies, including the military, must be held accountable to ensure that they live up to their expectations. It will be recalled that the Independent National Electoral Commission recently raised concerns that the 2023 general elections may be postponed or cancelled due to insecurity in the country. The alarm came on the heels of various attacks on INEC offices in many states.
The security agencies have a task to perform, and that task is to secure the lives and properties of Nigerians. If you are not doing what you are supposed to do, you will get changed. That is how it should go, so that people will be on top of their game. There's no sentiment in play here. So the government is not playing. They have targets that have been given to the security agencies to ensure that Nigerians can exercise their right to vote and put in leaders that they believe will be able to usher this country into the next phase that we want to go to.
One out of the 12 victims of an airstrike on Mutunji community in Maru local government area of Zamfara state receiving medical attention at Yeriman Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, died after days of successful surgical operations. The chairman, Medical Advisory Committee of the hospital, Dr. Isa Bashir, confirmed the death, saying that, however, that all other victims were successfully operated and are recuperating as well. The report.
The 12 victims of the airstrike targeted against terrorists operating at Malele and Mutunji communities are receiving medical treatment at Yeriman Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, and could not be discharged anytime soon, according to the hospital management, because of the degree of injuries they sustained. One of the victims died after a few days of surgical operation, while two were referred to Federal Medical Center, Gusau, and Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto. The 9 victims who are still at Yeriman Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, however, appealed to good-spirited individuals to come to their help to enable them recover.
The hospital personnel are taking care of us daily, giving us drugs. If the drugs are not available, they will go and buy for us. We thank them for that. Truly, the Zamfara state government has been settling our medical bills, and we pray God to bless them. We really need help from anyone that can because of our present condition.
The chairman of the Medical Advisory Committee of Yeriman Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, Dr. Isa Bashir, explained how the hospital has been handling the cases of victims who are currently with them.
When the victims were brought, that was on the 19th of December, the medical director now called me and informed me that as victims of bomb blasts, their treatments are also being offered. And that is exactly what happened. I quickly rushed to the hospital. I came down. I waited for the patients. And thank God, the first set of patients came in. I think there were about 8. And they were badly injured. And to God be the glory, the hospital management earlier has made a provision of extending our present accident and emergency unit to increase the capacity. And thank God, this has really helped us. So we just have to now open that new extension.
He said that the victims underwent orthopedic surgery given the degree of injuries which they sustained, and the state government has been paying their medical bills.
In terms of taking care of the patient after the surgery, we came to realize, because of the concern we have in terms of manpower, we have to start down again also at the level of management, also liaise with other departments, especially the head of nursing, because they are the one actually taking care of the patient. So he also on his own side also mobilized some people that have special training on taking care of those orthopedic patients, and they were also mobilized to that ward.
The Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad, in a statewide broadcast, announced that the state government will take care of the airstrike victims' medical bills.
The Edo State government says efforts are still ongoing to rescue the remaining victims of Saturday's attack at a train station in Igwebe local government area of the state. Edo State Commissioner for Communications and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, disclosed this while giving an update of the attack. According to him, 20 persons were kidnapped and not 31, adding that while 7 persons have been rescued, 13 persons remain in the den of their abductors. He explained that the job of securing lives and property is in the hands of federal government, noting that there's a limit to abilities of the local security network. Neikare, however, said that the Governor Godwin Obaseki administration will do all it can to protect the life and assets in the state, as well as support security agencies in the safe returns of those kidnapped at the train station.
From intelligence, we have discovered that the kidnappers actually made away or successfully holding just 13 hostages, not 31 as previously thought. I think they must have taken maybe 20. 6 were rescued or 7 were rescued, and the balance is 13 with them. The operation is still ongoing, and we are confident that very soon the ordeal of these innocent citizens will come to an end.
A Jos-based pastor, Albarka Bitrus, arrested for arranging his kidnap, has explained why he wants to collect ransom from members of his church. The Plateau State Police Command on Wednesday paraded the pastor after his arrest. The command said that Pastor Albarka Bitrus of Ekwa Church, Jos, had on several occasions staged his kidnap and allegedly collected ransom from church members. The police said that the suspect has been conspiring with a gang to commit the crime. The accused pastor, who says he regrets his action, confessed that he staged his kidnap due to financial challenges. According to the police, the suspect had collected 400,000 on November 14th last year, and 30th of the same month, he staged another self-kidnap and collected the sum of 200,000 naira from his sympathizers who are members of his church.
First one, when I do it, I feel guilty. The second one, I just go out. The first one, I go out to kill myself after when I come back from the first one. Then the money I went out with has finished, and I'm thinking of coming back. I'm totally confused of what to do. That is why I look for someone to make a different one so that I'll get money to go back.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it has not issued a fresh request to Department of State Services to arrest Doyin Okupe, a former media advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Okupe, also a former Director General of the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council, was arrested by the operatives of the DSS on his way to London at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. The spokesman of the Secret Police, Peter Afunaya, who confirmed Okupe's arrest, explained that the politician had been handed over to the anti-graft agency, who requested him for an action. But reacting to the development, the spokesman of the EFCC, Wilson Ujare, in a statement said that the service acted on a watch list request issued on July 18, 2016, over 6 years before his recent conviction on money laundering charges by the Federal High Court, Abuja. Now, the challenges encountered in the ongoing collection of permanent voter cards has made it imperative for the Commission to put in place modalities that will ease the process for people with disabilities. In this report, Noel Samson gets the reactions of stakeholders and INEC officials on the need to ease the process for this category of Nigerians. The report.
With less than 2 months to the 2023 general elections, Nigerians have been going to their different wards to collect the PVCs to enable them vote in the elections. With reports of long hours on queues and other such challenges, the stress is usually doubled for those living with disabilities. INEC is intentional about making the process less tedious for them.
We don't allow them to join the general queue. Instead, they could have a queue on their own. And we treat them just like we treat the elderly, the pregnant women, nursing mothers. You know, those ones, you don't expect them to stand in the sun, you know, in the heat and queue up. That stress would be a bit too much for them. So we have that. And in addition to that, there are special provisions that the Electoral Act has made, and so the chairman has gotten that to be provided. We have the Braille ballot guide. It's an embossed Braille ballot so that those who are blind can be guided by themselves. They don't need anybody intruding. You also have the sign language interpreter in locations where you have a lot of them. You have the sign language interpreter. We also have a magnifying glass for the albinos and those that have challenged with their sight. So all of this takes care of that.
Stakeholders describe such measures as commendable.
So, you know, inclusion most times in this case is not just about giving priority to people living with disabilities. It's also about accessibility. Where are these centers located? People on wheelchairs, can they access it? People that cannot walk, can they access it? People that are using crutches, can access it? And you are aware that most of these centers are mostly in primary and secondary schools and public spaces. And at least I've been to 12 or 15 of them, and I can tell you that, yes, they are accessible.
Well, INEC has done a good job. When they know you are a person with disabilities, like in my own center, it was easy for me, all right, because I did a transfer and indicated in my transfer that I'm a person with disabilities. So adequate arrangement had been made for me. So in most cases, when you tell INEC that you're a person with disabilities, at the PVC collection center, they go the step further. Once you mention your name or give them and tell them you're a person with disabilities, life becomes very easy for you at that point.
They also want the Commission to do more before, during, and after elections to ensure that persons living with disability are effectively carried along in the entire process. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit by the People's Democratic Party seeking an order to disqualify Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State from contesting the state governorship election later this year. Delivering judgment, Justice Inyang Eko dismissed the suit for being incompetent and an abuse of court process. He said that the PDP lacked the right to sue since it wasn't a participant in the All Progressives Congress governorship primary that produced Abdulrazak. The judge added that Section 29, Sub 5 of the Electoral Act 2022 provides that only an aspirant who participated in a party's political primary can seek to disqualify another for giving false information, as in this particular case. Justice Eko added that there is no provision in the Electoral Act or the Constitution that gives a political party that legal right to challenge the candidacy of an aspirant. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at why care for the elderly is children's business. Details of this and more after the break.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists: Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria; Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD; Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited. Date, Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
A Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England's squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust Television. Let's take a look at some of the top stories again. Lawmaker says sacking underperforming security chiefs will help end insecurity. Zamfara airstrike victim dies, others responding to treatment. Now, the Ohinoi of Ibraland, Dr. Ado Ibrahim, has said the allegations levied against him during the recent state visit of President Muhammadu Buhari by the Kogi state government is unfortunate and unfounded. The monarch said this in his response to the query given to him by the Kogi state government, saying that there was no iota of truth in the allegations leveled against him, stressing that there was no official letter informing him of the visit of President Buhari on the 29th of December to commission the legacy projects of Governor Yahaya Bello. He said the State Commissioner of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Salami Ozigi Didat, visited him on the 28th of December 2022 at about 9:30 p.m., informing him of the President's visit to Okene the following day to commission some project. He added that in the said visit, Didat instructed him to stay back in his palace while the President will be coming to pay a courtesy visit upon his arrival, and later commissioned the Ohinoi's palace at 10:10 a.m. Also alleged that Mr. President was to commission another palace other than his current palace that he has been occupying since he was coronated in 1997. He said despite the unfortunate incident, he will continue to reign over the good people of Ibraland with good conscience and convictions, as he has been doing since he became their paramount ruler. The Ondo State government has threatened to banish the Olukare and the Owale in Ikare, Akoko, the headquarters of Akoko Northeast local government area of the state. This is coming after incessant communal clashes between the two leaders. Recently, a violent clash in the community resulted in the death of 2 persons, while several houses and shops were set ablaze. Furthermore, the state government has relaxed the 24-hour curfew imposed on the ancient town from dusk till dawn, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Bamidele Ademola Olateju, disclosed this while briefing journalists on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting. Said Council resolved that any further crisis or escalation in Ikare will result in the banishment of the Olukare and Owale. Now, elderly care, or simply elder care services, serves the needs and requirements of senior citizens. It encompasses assisted living, adult daycare, long-term care, nursing homes, hospice care and home care. Now, Trust TV's Abbas Alibi in this report looks at the different perspectives on the role of the elderly and their expectations in the society.
In Africa, care for elderly people has been the responsibility of family members and is usually provided within the family home. Some senior citizens in Kano are divided on whether or not they should be cared for by their children at home or in the public care homes.
Za a ga kamar ci baya ne ka ɗau mahaifinka ka kai shi wani waje da mun fi so duk inda awa ɗaya ta awa biyu din dare ne ka fito ka kewaya ka ji numfashinsa ma wani iri yake yi.
Their agreement was based on African traditions, culture, and religion.
Raba su da ‘ya'yan nasu daga kusa da su, shi wannan kawai tawaya ne, wani buɗe ido iga mahaifinsa, shi ne yi ma mahaifin ya buɗe ido iga ɗansa, shi a wannan shi ne burgewa. Yara na ma ba su yadda da wannan ba.
Why some of them argue that their children will not tolerate taking them to care homes. Others argue that it is not bad if the need arises. According to Dr. Kabir Said Sufi, the differences in perceptions is what result in the kind of care elderly people receive.
In the less developed countries, African countries most especially, the elderly are seen as custodians of culture and wisdom, which is always required to be tapped by the society. Hence, they are being kept close, and there is a special relationship between the elderly and the young. Hence, the elderly in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, and of course other countries that are less developed, there is a bond between the elderly and of course the rest of the society. Hence, they are being kept at home, being kept very close, and an interaction is always done with them so as to reap the benefits of this culture and wisdom which is expected to be to reside with them. On the other part, the elderly in the developed countries, the concern is more about the needs of the elderly. That is their own emotional needs, their own physical needs, their own medical needs, their own. And this is something that is very demanding. So since the perception there is that they have many needs which need to be catered for, and then because of the nature of the society being advanced capitalist society where everybody is struggling to feed himself, the society feels nobody can afford to do that except the state, which they can work, that is the government, which they can work hard during their own in prime time to keep the society alive. So in their own elderly time, they are now considered as senior citizens. Hence, their responsibility for those needs rest with the state, and the state can only do that in care homes.
He emphasized the need for Africans to copy some essential inputs of elderly care from the Western world, just as the Western world needs to emulate the African culture of taking care of the elderly.
In terms of the needs, this is something that we need to look at what the needs are and copy from the developed countries. And then in terms of keeping them close to the family, keeping them very close and engaging instead of taking them to care homes, keeping them within the family, I think is something which the developed countries can emulate from Africa.
Some elderly persons said their main challenges is access to medical facilities, adding that their priority is to have access to medical facilities like those who live in the urban area. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Kano.
Now, away from Nigeria, French and German foreign ministers on Thursday arrived at Addis Ababa in support of a peace agreement signed last year to end 2 years of brutal war. The visit by France's Catherine Colonna and Annalena Baerbock of Germany began a day after Tigrayan rebels announced that they were starting to hand in their heavy weapons, a key component of the November 2 deal to silence the guns in northern Ethiopia. During the two-day trip, the pair are due to meet Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy and other ministers, as well as African Union officials and human rights campaigners. They will also visit a World Food Programme distribution center. Colonna said in a statement before her departure that the visit was aimed at supporting the peace process, the fight against impunity and reconstruction. And in sports news, Black Galaxies of Ghana group stage opponent Morocco have pulled out of the 2022 African Nations Championship in Algeria. Morocco's Football Federation made the announcement in a release on Thursday, just 24 hours before the commencement of the tournament. The FRMF cited Algeria's closure of its airspace to Moroccan flights as reason for pulling out. It said that the Confederation of African Football had informed it last month that Algeria had issued an authorization in principle for the flight, but just 24 hours before the tournament starts on Friday, the FRMF said it notes with regret that a definitive authorization for the flight from Rabat to Constantine has unfortunately not been confirmed. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.